When most people hear the phrase long-distance relationship, their minds instantly picture something dramatic, almost impossible. Two people trying to hold on to love across thousands of miles, crying on video calls, and counting down endless days until they meet again. For many outsiders, an LDR is a recipe for heartbreak, a situation full of suspicion, loneliness, and eventual failure. But the reality of being in one is far more complex and, surprisingly, more hopeful than people think. The first common perception is that long-distance relationships are just about waiting. People imagine couples staring at their phones, refreshing their message inboxes, or watching the calendar crawl by until the next reunion. In reality, an LDR is not just about waiting. It's about living. Couples find ways to make the time meaningful, whether that's planning virtual date nights, watching the same movie together over a call, or celebrating milestones in creative ways. Instead of passively waiting, partners often discover how to be intentional with their time and words. Another misconception is that long-distance relationships are full of constant drama and distrust. Outsiders often say, "How can you be sure they're not cheating?" Or, "Don't you get jealous all the time?" But the truth is, trust becomes the foundation of any successful LDR. The distance forces couples to communicate more clearly, to be transparent about their feelings, and to talk through issues instead of letting them fester. Yes, jealousy can show up, but many couples actually grow stronger because they learn how to deal with it directly rather than ignoring it. Then there's the idea that people in long-distance relationships must be sad all the time. Many think that partners cry themselves to sleep every night, overwhelmed by loneliness. Of course, there are moments of sadness, but the reality is often a mix of emotions, excitement, hope, and even joy. For example, couples in LDRs often celebrate small things more intensely. A morning text feels like a love letter, and a phone call after a long day feels like a warm embrace. The distance can magnify appreciation for little gestures that others might take for granted. Another stereotype is that long-distance relationships are only temporary survival mode, something you just endure until you can finally close the gap. While closing the distance is usually the goal, the journey itself can be meaningful. Couples in LDRs often learn resilience, patience, and independence. They pursue their own careers, studies, and personal growth while still supporting their partner. Rather than weakening love, the distance can sometimes strengthen it because both people learn that love is not just about physical presence, but about commitment, effort, and consistency. And perhaps the biggest misconception of all is that long-distance relationships don't last. People assume that distance kills love, but countless couples have proven otherwise. Many successful marriages today began as long-distance relationships. The difference is not the miles between them, but the dedication and creativity with which they bridge those miles. Reality shows us that while distance is a challenge, it is not an automatic death sentence for love. In truth, an LDR is neither a romantic fantasy nor a constant nightmare. It is a real relationship with ups and downs, unique struggles, and unique joys. What people often get wrong is assuming that distance defines the relationship. In reality, it's the two people involved who define it through trust, communication, and the choice to love each other daily, no matter how many miles apart they may be. So, when people ask, "Isn't long distance impossible?" the reality is this: long-distance relationships are not for everyone, but for those who are willing to put in the effort. They can be deeply rewarding. They prove that love is not just about holding hands. It's about holding hearts across any distance.